So, mobile games are something that I'm very passionate about. Mainly certain ones, not all mobile games. Twerk Race 3D. Certain ones. The ones that, really left a mark on the mobile gaming genre as a whole. As you already know, Angry Birds, Plants vs. Zombies, Cut the Rope, I could think of more, but I don't want to right now. But then there's one that really stuck out over the years and is kind of kicking around today. I don't really get the state of it currently in the year of 2026, but it's Talking Tom. Now, I'm sure you've seen one of the people you know, or you yourself has probably owned one of these games. These games have caused massive popularity, or gained massive popularity over the years, both in a good way and a bad way. We'll get to that later on. So, I decided to make a Talking Tom IceBerg, which, if you look on YouTube, actually, there aren't many Talking Tom IceBergs. There are a few, there's just not a lot. So I decided to make this one to kind of add to it, hopefully kind of stir up some popularity for people to decide to make their own Talking Tom IceBerg. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for this part. I don't really need to explain what an iceberg is to you, but let's just begin. Talking Tomcat was the original released version of Talking Tom that was released in July of 2010. It was one of the first talking games released by Outfit 7, or the first talking game released by Outfit 7. The game itself didn't have too many functionalities to it. You were able to poke him, prod him, give him a cup of milk, have him scratch your screen, have him throw a pie at your screen, and the main gimmick was the fact that he could repeat things back to you in a funny voice. So you could say things to him and he would repeat it back in a high-pitched voice.
Lots we can do with this app. This little tomcat's going to listen to everything and repeat everything I say, as you can see.
Lots we can do with this app. This little tomcat's going to listen to everything and repeat everything I say, as you can see.
Released a year after the original Talking Tomcat, Talking Ben the Dog is just a spin-off, or I wouldn't say a sequel, just another add-on to the Talking Tom-esque games. It's very similar to the original Talking Tom in the fact that he can repeat what you say, you can feed him, you can hit him, you can do just basically what you can do in the original game, but there is a new section where you are able to craft potions. There's like a lab section, which I think ties into the story behind Ben, where he was a retired science professor or something. You're able just to click on different potions and mix them together and make different things happen, like a tornado or fire explosion or something like that. Talking Angela was another spin-off based on Talking Tom, released in 2012, a year after Talking Ben was released. Again, it's a common trope with most of these early games. It's the same gimmicks. You feed them, you pet them, you hit them, you make them repeat what you say. But the thing with Angela was that her app actually enabled you to have a chat with her, or what was like a chat. It was like one of the earlier forms of like an AI chatbot, or what things like ChatGPT are nowadays. It was like full of auto-generated responses, so it didn't use AI. But you were able to type in little responses and have a chat with her, which did spark up some controversy, but that's later on in the iceberg. I'll do a deeper explanation on it. Talking Tom and Friends was an animated series based around Talking Tom and his friends that was released around 2014, or in 2014. The series contains characters like Tom, Ben, Angela, Ginger, that's really it. And then there is Hank, but I'll explain more about him later. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know who IShowSpeed is. I'm not going to really sit here and explain who he is, but I won't go too deep with it. But basically, in 2022, IShowSpeed streamed him playing games like Talking Ben and Talking Tom 2, and that just gained a massive amount of popularity. It became kind of a meme back in 2022, early 2023, and it just kind of was that, and then it kind of died off, and then that's really it. Nothing much happened there.
Ben.
Ben.
Ho ho ho.
Ben.
Ho ho ho.
Ben. Ben.
Ho ho ho.
What is so Ben? What's so funny, bro? Ben.
No.
Ben.
No.
Ben.
No.
Ben.
Yes.
Would you marry me?
Outfit 7 is the company behind the Talking Tom games. That's it. There's not really a lot to this entry. The only other thing I think I can add is in 2017, Outfit 7 was bought out, or I guess sold to, some Chinese company, and that caused a giant shift in the style of the Talking Friends games, but I'll get onto that later. My Talking Tom and My Talking Angela were two pet care style games Outfit 7 released in 2013 and 2014. They, just like the others, are like the same kind of gimmicky games. They repeat what you say, you can hit them, slap them, feed them, whatever, but it was styled like a pet game, something like a Tamagotchi, where you're able to feed it and help it grow, and it grows to different ages, and you're able to clothe it and wash it and feed it and give it medicine, and it's cool, I guess. And Talking Tom and Talking Angela, or My Tom and My Angela, ended up also getting their own series of shorts based on the games, which were only for a little bit amount of time in 2013 and 2014. It just got to kind of help advertise the game. So, Talking Tom was one of the things that was affected by the 3 AM video epidemic back in like 2018, 2019. Basically, I mean, if you've already seen 3 AM videos or 3 AM challenge videos before, it's the same kind of shtick. It's just where someone calls Talking Tom characters or someone encounters Talking Tom characters at 3 AM, also the devil's hour according to them, and back then it amassed millions of views, so that's pretty cool. I personally remember this one video by Jester and Hype Mike, where they play a haunted version of Talking Angela, and Talking Angela steals Mike's voice, and I remember personally seeing that as the most horrifying thing in my entire life. I don't know why, but I guess I just did. So in 2014, Talking Angela fell victim to a hoax spread around by the internet that the original version of Talking Angela was being ran by creeps trying to spy on children. And the main theory was that in the eyes of Angela, people have claimed to see a man, or a silhouette of a man, in a room. And there's not really much to back this up. I don't want to go too deep with this. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube, so I would prefer you go watch one of those for more in-depth explanation. But mainly it caused the app to end up removing the chat feature off of the app and making the app way more basic, where it's just like its roots, where now it just, you press buttons and things happen, and Angela repeats what you say, and that's it. So in 2012, Disney Vivo and Outfit 7 released an animated YouTube video, or an animated music video on the YouTube channel based around the Disney animated show Talking Friends that was centered around Talking Tom, but I'll get to that later. It was just a song sang by Angela and Tom about love, and that's basically it. So, like previously mentioned, Talking Friends was a show created in 2012 when Outfit 7 partnered with Disney, or I think it was a Disney short, like, it was a small Disney, like, spin-off company. I don't really remember the name. I might put it up here. But in 2012, they created the first ever animated series based off of the Talking Tom characters. And I think there was only a few episodes made. Like, I don't think it was a long-lived show. I think it only lasted maybe a year. I'm not exactly sure. But it was centered around the same kind of cast like the other one was, where Tom, Ben, Angela, Ginger, but then they had other Talking Friends characters that were from the original games, like Talking Gina the Giraffe, Talking Pierre. That's it. There's not really too many characters. But anyway, I personally like this one a little more because it actually uses the original designs based off of the mobile game and not these like more smoother, newer looking designs, you know? And that's really it, I guess. That's it. Talking Tom for Messenger was another app released by Outfit 7 in 2012. It was this little messaging app that you can connect to whatever messaging app you had, like Apple Messages or Facebook Messages or just Android Messages, where you could send video animation, like little messages that you could record to send to your friends that used the Talking Friends characters. And they looked like their Talking Friends counterparts from the Disney show, but in 2015 they remade the app and used the Talking Tom and Friends show designs. And I think the app is gone. I actually don't know. I'll check it again, but yeah. Okay, so I don't really know why I put this entry here, but it basically was just talking about the Disney show I literally just covered like an entry ago. But I kind of need to correct myself a little bit with what I said with Talking Friends. There were two kinds of Talking Friends. There was the Talking Friends Disney show from Disney Interactive, and then there was the brand Talking Friends, which was the whole brand as a whole, and then it was just turned into Talking Tom, and now it's only Talking Tom and Friends, and that's not really Talking Friends anymore. But other than that, I don't really know why this entry is here. I forgot why I put it here, but it's whatever. Dang Matt Smith, in a similar kind of situation to like what I said about IShowSpeed, back in 2020 to 2021, maybe 2019, I'd say, there was a trend that was mixed in with kind of the 3 a.m. video genre, where people would download the Talking Tom games and be like, oh, this is the haunted, scary Talking Tom game that everybody's talking about. I'm going to play it and film a video on it. And that's what everybody was doing. And Dang Matt Smith was one of the people to do that. And I remember he played like maybe like 7 or 8 of these games. He mainly on his channel, he makes like horror animation like reactions, something similar to what Corey X Kenshin did. But there's not a lot to him here. He played Talking Tom games. He's known for these weird, wacky thumbnails. You know. So like I mentioned in the first tier, Hank was a new Talking Tom character, or now he's not as new anymore, but it was an addition to the Talking Tom and Friends TV show back in 2014, and he was just kind of added into the cast of characters. He's just a white dog with some blue spots, and his personality is something similar to like Patrick from SpongeBob. There's not a lot to him. He ended up getting his own game. I think it was My Hank. And he's just been in a bunch of games since. He's been in like just cameos for the different other Talking Friends games, and you know, he's pretty cool. The First Gamer is a mobile game kind of historian on YouTube. He primarily posts things about Talking Tom and Outfit 7, and he made a lot of like lost media videos about like the original model of Talking Tom being found and stuff about Outfit 7 and the Talking Tom games. I really recommend you go see some of his videos, but I won't go too deep into it, but he's pretty cool. The OG Tom redesign in 2016 is referring to a period of time in 2016, or just one event that happened, where the original Talking Tomcat app's design and mainly the entire app was completely just shifted into this newer, cutesy, more modern design for Tom, and it added some things like being able to feed him and watch ads for food or something, and it also added microtransactions, which sucks. They mainly did this due to the just wanting to modernize the older games, trying to, make it fit with the more newer era of Talking Tom games. They recently did it again in 2025, where they gave him I personally really don't like this redesign, but it's meant to fit the modern look of the new Talking Tom era. So there's nothing we can do about it generally, so we're just gonna have to deal with it for now. Microphone access refers to the fact that when you download one of the Talking Tom games or Talking Friends games, due to the fact that they are supposed to repeat what you say, they primarily need the microphone feature to be able to hear what you say and repeat it back to you. So whenever you download a Talking Tom game, it'll mainly first ask you, I need a microphone access to hear you. And there's not really much else to this entry. I guess I could add that back then, a lot of people were scared that it kind of tied in with the whole 3 a.m. like scary Talking Tom thing, where people thought that people were listening in through the microphone of your phone, and I wouldn't say that they weren't. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. It's still kind of scary to this day, to be honest with you. Talking Gina the Giraffe was one of the earliest Talking Tom or Talking Friends games. It was released alongside Talking Tom, or the original Talking Tomcat, games like Talking Baby Hippo, Talking Rex, which is one later on the IceBerg. It's just one of the really early ones. It was the gimmicks for the game, the same thing as what you would expect from the early ones. You could hit her to feed her, just do random things with her, and I think it's one of the ones that people really feel the most nostalgic for besides the original Talking Tom, because as of recently, Outfit 7 just kind of like completely just removed her from like everything almost. The last time she's really been in anything was the Talking Friends TV show, and she was just a stuffed doll that Ginger carried around with him. Other than that, though, she's just been kind of forgotten. I mean, it's common for Outfit 7 to kind of do stuff like that. I mean, they talk about characters like Talking Pierre and Talking Santa. Like, they just kind of, they're throwing some characters out. It's upsetting, but it happens. 4 iPad variations are just referring to the fact that if you go on the App Store and look up Talking Tom or Talking Ben, you'll see 2 versions. You'll see the actual game just called Talking Tom or Talking Ben or Talking Angela, and then there's the ones that will say Talking Tom for iPad, Talking Tom Ben for iPad. And they're mainly just because they released them onto iPad so they can fit the, I guess, capacity of the device. I don't really understand that much about technology like that, but they're just meant to fit with the iPad, like a bigger screen display, just stuff like that. And the main way to differentiate the normal ones from the iPad variations is that sometimes they'll just change the colors of the background or change the icon of the app to a different color. Like for Talking Tom and Ben News, the normal color for the main app is blue and the iPad variation is green. Cat's Rock just refers to a phrase written on the brick wall in the original Talking Tomcat game. It's just a phrase written in green spray paint. There's not much to it. I mean, it was in the 2016 redesign. It was also in the You Get Me music video. I think it might be in the 2025 redesign also, maybe. I am not entirely sure, but it's just a little phrase that they added to the background of the original Talking Tom. Farts and or fart humor are something very common in the earlier Outfit 7 games. Just in the earlier games, there would be functions to make the characters fart or burp. Just I get it to add to the comedic effect, because it's supposed to be a funny little kids game. I just felt like putting this here because they put that in a lot of the games, so I just threw it in here. McDonald's Toys refers to two separate waves of Talking Tom themed McDonald's toys that Outfit 7 had after a collaboration with McDonald's. The first wave was in 2013 that was specifically themed around the Talking Friends brand, as I mentioned before. And then in 2016, they released more, mainly themed after the Talking Tom and Friends show in 2015. And that you can kind of see which one the earlier wave was a little more interesting than the newer one. The new 2016 one was just a bunch of different Toms themed after mainly skins from My Talking Tom. I don't really know why. But they were just little short-lived McDonald's collaborations, and after that, they just never really did anything again. And with that, that ends part 1 to the Talking Tom IceBerg Explained. Part 2 will come in due time. Now, before I say absolutely anything, 7,400 views on the Angry Birds IceBerg Explained Part 1. That is so much. So many of the subscribers that I've gained have came from my Angry Birds videos. Mainly one, because they're like the only other videos. We don't talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's video. I'm not that proud of that one. But I don't even know. I am completely speechless right now. I'm trying to think of so much to say, but I also just can't. I can't get it out of my mouth. I don't know. There's nothing I could possibly do to show how appreciative I am from all of the views and the subscribers and the comments from you guys. Absolutely phenomenal. I don't even know. I'm still speechless. I don't know. And, I don't know. I'm glad that you guys enjoy this kind of stuff, like I've said in the last Angry Birds video. So, with that, I'm gonna go sleep, and, part 2 will come in due time. So, thank you so much for 100 subscribers, and for all of those views on my videos. Thank you. And, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.